Hey, what's going on, you guys? This is Madam, and I am coming back to you once again. And we're back at the Grio, and this is about a Dunkin' Donuts worker who gets 2 years of house arrest and the death of a man who called him the N word. Corey Perjols, age 27, reached a deal with prosecutors in Tampa, Florida, and pled guilty to felony battery and a fatal punch. A black restaurant worker who punched an elderly white man who later died over a racial slur has been sentenced to 2 years of house arrest, according to WTVTV. Corey Perjols, age 27, reached a deal with prosecutors in Tampa, Florida, and pled guilty to felony battery, potentially avoiding decades in jail for causing the death of Vernell Cook, age 77. And Cook is the one on the right. Okay. Perjols was working at a Dunkin' Donuts in Tampa, Florida on May 5th, 2021, when Cook tried to order a coffee at the restaurant drive-thru. Court records say, as reported by the Associated Press, but attendants couldn't hear him and he became upset. He parked his vehicle and walked into the restaurant and complained about his service, according to investigators. Store employees described Cook as a regular customer who was regularly troublesome and abusive, according to a press release from the Florida State Attorney's Office. Perjols asked Cook to leave, and the elderly man responded with a racial slur. Perjols told Cook not to use the slur again, but he did. This time, Perjols threw a punch to the senior's jaw that knocked him to the floor, where he hit his head, according to WTVT. Cook was transported to a hospital where he died 3 days later. An autopsy showed Cook shattered a skull fracture. He suffered a skull fracture and a brain contusion, WTVT reported. Perjols was originally charged with aggravated manslaughter, which carries up to 30 years in prison, but prosecutors accepted a plea deal that also included 200 hours of community service and anger management class. Ooh wee. All right. Prosecutors told the Tampa Bay Times that they considered a number of factors before agreeing to the plea deal, including Perjols' youth and his lack of intent to cause Cook's death. Two of the primary factors were aggressive approach the victim took towards the defendant and everyone working with the defendant, and that the victim repeatedly used possibly the most aggressive and offensive term in the English language. Grayson Kim, a spokesman for Hillsborough State Attorney Andrew Warren, told the Times. Prosecutors believe Perjols needed to be held responsible for his actions, yet also took into account Cook's behavior, his very troublesome criminal history, and time served in prison, which they said made him an unsympathetic victim, WTVT reported. Court records also showed that Cook was a registered sex offender. Perjols' attorney, Darren Johnson, declined comment after the hearing, reports indicate. And that is the end of this article right here. Man, very sad indeed, but nevertheless, man, watch what you say, man. Um, you know, some people will not tolerate certain things. I do know that every race has a word that is will put them on edge, and the N word has been notoriously used um, for black people, African Americans, but in reality, the N word in the dictionary, if you care to look, often is described, its description is a person that is ignorant, so it could apply to anyone. Nevertheless, it has been applied to black and African Americans for decades and decades. And this should just be a learning lesson, regardless of what demographic or racial background you're from. Um, we all should try to have some type of restraint, uh, but that's better said than done. Okay. I would be sitting here lying and saying if I didn't experience this on one level or another in my personal life and how people react. You can never predict how a person is going to react. Sadly, a person lost their life, and hopefully, when they're reincarnated, they'll come back and remember what they did last time and won't do it again. Uh, you know, but now's the time to ask you guys to come down in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about this story. And have you had any uh, life experience where you were called a slur? It doesn't necessarily have to be African American or black, it could be any race of people. But I would definitely like to hear what you have to say. And let's get the conversation going in the comment section. And thank you so much for watching my video. I truly do appreciate it. And with that, I will get with you guys in the next video.